Hello and welcome to the videos on securitytube.net. This is a part of Ipv6 or IP version 6 video series. This video is on EUI64 in Ipv6. Ipv6 is not only about extending the address field from 32-bit to 128-bit, but Ipv6 hosts can also do auto configuration of their IP address. That is, without the help of IP DHCP v6, they can also do the auto configuration, and EUI64 format is a building block of this auto configuration. By implementing IEEE's 64-bit extended unique identifier or EUI64 format, a host can automatically assign itself a unique 64-bit interface identifier without the need of manual or DHCP configuration. This is accomplished on Ethernet interface by re-referencing the already unique 48-bit MAC address and reformatting that MAC address to match the EUI64 specifications. So for converting 48-bit MAC address to EUI64 interface identifier, there is a simple two-step process. First, to convert 48-bit MAC to 64-bit MAC, step 1, and step 2 is to invert the universal or local bit. First step is to convert the 48-bit MAC to 64-bit value by inserting FFFE in between. So 48-bit MAC address is divided into two 24-bit halves. The first is OUI or organizational unique identifier half, and second is NIC or network interface card specific part. Now insert 0x FFFE or hex FFFE in between these two parts. So for example, if your MAC address is 001122334455, the new EUI64 part will be 001122 FFFE and 334455. So we have inserted FFFE in between these two halves. Now the important thing to remember is why FFFE. In IEEE's standard, FFFE format was reserved. So in any actual EUI64 address or network interface specific address, FFFE part after the OUI part will be considered as EUI64 converted address. Step 2 is to invert universal or local flag. Now universal local flag is present in the OUI format, the 7th bit. The 7th bit is called universal local bit, and when this bit is set to 0, it indicates the universal or global uniqueness, and when this bit is set to 1, it indicates that the MAC address is administered by the local administrator. Many times local administrator has to create some virtual MAC addresses which will be present in that local net only. So for creating these virtual MAC addresses, administrator will be setting this 7th bit to 1, indicating a local bit. So when bit is 0, it is a universal bit or it is globally unique bit, and when bit is set to 1, it is local bit. While converting 48-bit MAC address to EUI64 format, one is supposed to invert the universal local bit value. Motivation behind inverting this universal local flag is to make administrators' life easy for the handcrafted IP addresses. So for handcrafted IP addresses, instead of inverting, if he had to use 1, then the handcrafted IP address would have been 02. Then if he is using only the last nibble, then the address would have been 0200, again all these bits to be 0, and then he is using last nibble to give different IP addresses. But instead, if we invert this 1 to 0, then his life will be very easy, and he can easily represent that IP address as 00:::. He can take advantage of double colon representation in IPv6 address, and he can only mention the last nibble. So as an example, if our IP address was 001122 FFFE 334455, in that case we will take into consideration the first byte. So it is 00000000. We will invert the 7th bit in this first byte. So we will get our new EUI64 address as 021122 FFFE 334455. The important part here to remember is the scope of address is never changing. Global addresses are still global addresses and local addresses are still local addresses. Rather, the meaning of that bit is inverted in EUI64 format for convenience. So the value of the bit also has to be inverted. Since meaning has been inverted, we need to invert value as well. Few more examples for better understanding. Our MAC address 00150001E1411. Then after doing step 1, our new EUI64 step 1 format will be 001500FFFE1E1411. So we have inserted FFFE in between these two 24-bit parts. And after doing step 2, that is inverting the 7th bit of the first byte, our final EUI64 address will be 021500FFFE1E1411. If we take an example of locally monitored address, say 620012-1A0E11. After doing step 1, we have only inserted FFFE in between these two parts, so 620012-FFFE1A0E11. And after doing step 2, we will invert the 7th bit, so it will become, instead of 62, it will become 60, so it will be 600012-FFFE1A0E11. I am having Windows Vista machine with me. On command prompt, if I enter the command ipconfig/all, I am able to see all my physical data. So my physical address is 001D0954B228. From this 48-bit MAC address, Ipv6 stack link local address is being formed with FE80 as my link local standard prefix, then colon, so all initial bits are set to 0. After that, if we see, 00 has been replaced by 02 because the 7th bit has been replaced, so it is 021D09, then FFFE is being added, FFFE, and then 54B228, so here also 54B228. So in this way, 48-bit MAC address is being converted to EUI64 format. That's it for this video. Thank you. Feel free to browse other videos on securitytube.net. I will be inserting more videos on IPv6 and wireless network security. Keep looking for those videos. Thank you.